This is the first time, I believe, if I'm correct, that the Roundtable has made a road trip. So this is actually the road trip Roundtable. So we're debuting it here. Michelle and Etan are back, and we have added one person, my man Cameron Wolfe, who covers the Miami Dolphins for ESPN.com. Can we give it up for Cam? Now, during the time when I stepped off stage, I got my phone handed to me, and I found out that Colin Kaepernick, after I said he wasn't going to get a job, is getting workouts now. And all the NFL teams are going to go to Atlanta to go check him work out. And it just got me thinking, okay, if Cap is getting workouts, what do we feel about that in terms of where we're talking about this space, about social justice? Does this mean something positive that he's getting workouts?
Well, you know, if I was the NFL, I would have done this a long time ago, just to make it go away. To be honest with you, I don't really understand why they would wait this long to be able to do it because of what it symbolizes. And going back to when you put somebody out there and say, okay, if any of you step out of line, this too will happen to you, and they know that that's what it symbolizes. Okay, and they leave that out there hanging. That's the message that it sends to all NFL teams, and that just you can't deny that. But I mean, the fact that he's getting a workout, I mean, I think that's great news. So we'll see what happens.
I just hope it isn't a PR move.
Right.
I think when you look at what NFL teams ultimately have a decision to make, I'm eager to see how many teams show up, how many teams actually legitimately get an opportunity, or do they use this as a cover to say, hey, we watched him work out, he isn't good anymore, we're done with it. So I hope they legitimately give him a chance rather than just use it as an excuse to say that's the reason why he's not in the league.
Well, I think it's a great opportunity because they could easily just leave it alone, like we're going to let this die, we're not going to bother him, we don't want to bring up any more issues. But the fact that they are opening the door to him and going to go check him out is a great thing. I do think, like you said, it's too late. I mean, it's long overdue. It should have been done a long time ago, especially if they say they're on board with the movement, they want to help improve, support the cause, especially with the NFL being mostly black. This should have been done a long time ago.
So what do we feel about the role of the media in terms of this social justice movement? I mean, Etan, we know that the media has had to cover this because it's a massive national story. It has been for several years in terms of the new civil rights movement in sports. We know what happened in the 60s, but I'm talking about specifically the last few years. Is the media supposed to be a partner, or is the media just, in your opinion, just supposed to chronicle what's happening?
I think the media has a responsibility to accurately report what happens, and I don't think they did that with the Colin Kaepernick situation. I think that Colin Kaepernick specifically said why he was kneeling. He said it was for systemic racism, police brutality, and the political system. He said specifically, it is not about the veterans. He said, no disrespect to the veterans. He said, I have family members that are veterans. This is not about the veterans. And as soon as he did that, the next day, the media wrote, well, Colin Kaepernick has protested the anthem and it's disrespectful to the veterans. And I feel well, the mainstream media did do that, and and then you saw the message kind of get hijacked purposely, by President Trump, and he said, well, he's against our veterans and he's against our military and he's disrespectful to the national anthem, and Colin Kaepernick specifically said what it was. So I think that the media has a responsibility to be able to see the way that the message was trying to be twisted, and in reference to exactly what Colin Kaepernick said was the reason why he was taking the knee. And I just don't think that the media did that.
I think, I saw the other day, being pro-black doesn't mean you're against everybody else.
Right.
And I think sometimes people do take that. If you say, I'm pro this, I'm fighting for this, that means forget everybody else. It was like, no, we do have a specific issue at hand that we want to highlight, but it's not against anybody else. And some people just took that and ran with it. Well, he's against me because he did this. And especially when someone else give out misinformation, they can take it and run with it. But it's like one of those deflecting moments. Let's not deal with this. Let's deflect it to something else and see what happens.
Okay, so let me tee you up though, okay? Mm-hmm. So we are both reporters, okay? And I know that because I know what he does in his space with work and I know what I do, we both have been very thoughtful and tried to be very accurate in portraying what was going on with this. But Cam, how do you feel about the argument? And I understand what Etan's saying. There are a lot of people who do what we do who did not frame it in the accurate way.
I think that it's a diversity issue. I think that a lot of reporters honestly didn't know what was going on. and they didn't know how to term it. I had reporters that didn't look like me, that looked like a lot of the people who were in media rooms, who used that anthem protest phrase that became the mainstream thing that everybody picked up on. And nobody understood that police brutality, social injustice were the topics that they were trying to push. So when you see that coming across your SportsCenter feed, anthem protest, that's what everybody's going to chew up. Why are they protesting the anthem? Why are they going against America? And that became, we never got rid of that. Like, even to this day, there are still people who think that Colin Kaepernick is protesting the anthem. And, you know, like you mentioned earlier, you can be against something that's injustice, but not be against a particular group. You know, police brutality. We should all be against police brutality. Like, nobody should want police brutality. Police officers should be against police brutality, but because that phrase came out, a lot of police officers were withdrawn, and they were like, that means he's against us. And you saw police officers saying, hey, we're not gonna be security on teams because Colin Kaepernick's against us, and he never said that. So I think a lot of it came in framing, and a lot of people feeling defensive because they felt like they were attacked when the message was misconstrued. So yeah, I agree that there needed to be better framing, and there needed to be better diversity. There needed to be more African-American people in newsrooms to be able to say, okay, this is why he's doing it. These are the experiences. This is actually happening. Black people are being killed, and he's trying to use his voice to make an impact in this community. And it has nothing to do with the flag. He's just using this as a vehicle to show his protest. And by the outrage we all saw, it was an effective vehicle. We just didn't see it used in the way that he intended to be.
Do you have well, you want to say something? I can tell.
So
Okay.
it's hard for me to give the past that, you know, that we didn't know any better and we need more diversity in the room. It's not always a diverse face that will get the right message, number one. I think we need to take ownership of the media doing lazy journalism, whether they look like us or whether they don't look like us. And for Kaepernick to specifically list the reasons why he was kneeling, right? The reason why he was protesting. He specifically said it, then for a journalist to say, well, I don't know why he said it, so I'm just going to go with what Trump said, and Trump said that it was against the anthem, and it said that he was against the military. I think that's lazy journalism. I
do think what he said makes a difference, because people who haven't experienced some of the things that we experienced don't get it. They don't think it's as big of a deal as it is. So having someone in that room that could possibly, we're not going to say every black person could break it down, but having the person that can break down to plain language so someone can understand what's going on and what's happening, why this particular group is feeling this way, makes a difference. But if no one says anything and fight for that right in that media room, and it could be anybody, you're correct on that, but having someone that can really relate makes a major difference of how we can get that message out and not have it like one against the other. We're like, we just want you to hear us, understand us, knowing that this is a reality for us. And we do have these fears, and these things do happen, and you see it. And we just want you to understand it so we can make a solution for it.
And on that note,
I know. And on that note, we have to end the first roundtable, but I'd like you to please give it up for Michelle, Cam, and Etan. Thank you very much for doing this. We could do this all night, but we got to keep it moving. So thank you.
Thank
all right?
you.
All right. Appreciate you.